When you're trying to keep your mornings tight, clean and on point with blood sugar control, choosing the right kind of meat can seriously shift your whole day into a better groove. A lot of folks don't realize that what they grab first thing in the morning can totally set the tone, especially if they're dealing with diabetes, struggling with insulin resistance support, or just trying to avoid that mid-morning crash that hits like a truck out of nowhere. That's why people get so curious about the top 3 morning meats for diabetics. Because protein is one of those MVP nutrients that steps in with real backup, slowing digestion, stabilizing glucose levels, and helping you cruise through the first half of the day without feeling like your energy got robbed. When you pair the right meat with a smart, balanced breakfast, you're basically giving your body a cheat code. And trust me, that cheat code hits different when your diet's tuned for diabetes or pre-diabetes. A big reason morning meats are clutch for anyone watching. Their sugar is the simple fact that protein takes its sweet time digesting. Unlike high-carb breakfast foods that spike up your glucose like fireworks, protein is mellow. It doesn't rush the bloodstream. It's like that chill friend who helps keep the vibes steady. And when the meat is lean, low-carb, and clean of unnecessary sugar-loaded marinades, it becomes the kind of diabetic-friendly meat that health experts talk about over and over again. People usually think of bacon or sausage when they hear breakfast meats, but traditional versions of those come packed with saturated fats, preservatives, and sometimes sneaky sugars. That's where swapping in smarter cuts like turkey bacon, grilled chicken, or lean pork cuts turns the whole thing around. Suddenly, your breakfast isn't the villain. It's your personal security guard for the rest of the day. Now, when you're dealing with any kind of type 2 diabetes diet, you want something that supports your metabolism early in the morning. Think of your body like a car engine. If you start it cold and dump sugar-heavy or refined carb foods into it, donuts, pastries, sugary cereal, you're basically flooding the engine. But if you hit it with steady, high-quality protein that comes from these top morning meats, you're telling your metabolism, yo, start up smooth, don't freak out. We're doing this right. That's why people feel fuller, calmer, and sharper when they use a morning protein boost instead of loading up on carbs. You don't get the crash. You don't get the cravings hitting at 10 a.m. And more importantly, your body isn't forced into a sugar roller coaster that makes diabetes harder to manage. Chicken breast is one of the stars of the show because it's lean, versatile, and fits perfectly into a low-carb breakfast routine. A lot of diabetics underestimate how good grilled chicken strips can be in the morning. Throw them into an omelet, pair them with veggies, or slice them up for a protein bowl. When chicken is cooked simply, without sugary sauces or breading, the stuff is basically a superhero. For glucose stability, it's rich in protein but low in fat and carbs, and that combo helps slow down the release of glucose into the bloodstream, like an absolute champ. Plus, it's easy on the stomach early in the day. If you're one of those people who wakes up not super hungry but knows you gotta eat something smart, chicken makes the whole situation feel effortless. Turkey bacon is another major win for diabetics in the morning. Traditional pork bacon might taste amazing, no doubt, but it's loaded with saturated fats that can mess with insulin sensitivity long-term. Turkey bacon gives you that familiar breakfast vibe without the heavy grease and fat overload. It's lighter, cleaner, and way more aligned with a healthy metabolic routine. And since it's still meaty and satisfying, you're not feeling like you're sacrificing anything. Pair it with some eggs, avocado, or veggies, and boom, you have a whole morning setup that tastes good and behaves well in your bloodstream. A lot of folks with diabetes love turkey bacon because it doesn't trigger that sluggish, greasy feeling after eating. Instead, it feels like you're fueling your body the right way with clean, healthy fats and reliable protein. Now, let's talk about lean pork cuts, something most people push aside because they think pork automatically equals unhealthy. But that's not true when you pick lean cuts and cook them right. Lean pork loin or tenderloin, especially when cooked without sugary glazes or breading, becomes one of the most powerful breakfast meats for stabilizing blood sugar. It's surprisingly lean, rich in protein, and gentle on your metabolism. Pork actually provides a ton of essential nutrients, B vitamins, minerals, and amino acids that support overall metabolic balance. That's why when you incorporate lean pork into your Breakfast rotation, maybe some thin slices with eggs or a small grilled portion on the side. You're basically giving your body artillery for the rest of the day. It's satisfying, filling, and works beautifully with the kind of slow and steady energy release diabetics need, but the magic isn't just about which meat you choose. It's about how you cook it. A diabetic-friendly morning meal should stay away from frying in heavy oils, sugary glazes, or processed breading. When you grill, bake, or air fry your morning meats, you're getting all the perks without adding chaos to your blood sugar. Cooking lean meats clean keeps your breakfast aligned with that type 2 diabetes diet rhythm your body needs. You're not sabotaging yourself with hidden sugar bombs. You're not drowning your food in fats that slow your metabolism. You're just giving yourself a smooth, stable, tasty start. Another huge perk of using morning meats for diabetics is how well they combine with fiber. If you throw in veggies, whole grains, or avocado, your body gets this power duo of fiber plus protein. Fiber slows digestion even more, keeping glucose levels consistent and preventing those annoying spikes and crashes. The crazy thing is, once you start using lean morning meats, you naturally start pairing them with better sides because they just taste right together. A plate of chicken strips and sautéed spinach, a turkey bacon scramble with peppers and onions, lean pork slices with a handful of avocado and cherry tomatoes. That's the kind of breakfast that fuels you like you're playing a long game, not just surviving till lunchtime. A lot of diabetics talk about how eating protein early somehow helps them control cravings later in the day. And that's real. When your morning meal contains reliable lean protein, your hunger hormones stay calm. You don't get that wild urge to binge or snack on junk. Your brain stays sharper, and your body doesn't feel off. That's why these top 3 meats aren't just about glucose. They're about controlling your whole day's vibe. When breakfast is strong, controlled, and stable, your mindset stays on track too. You don't feel deprived because you're eating flavorful, satisfying food. That's a big part of consistency. People stick to something when it's delicious and sustainable. Morning meats do that. They don't feel like a diet. They feel like normal life done smarter. Another thing worth mentioning is how protein affects your muscle health. Especially for folks managing diabetes, muscle tissue plays a major role in absorbing glucose, and having enough protein in your diet, especially early in the day, helps keep muscle fibers strong, active, and efficient. That's why people with diabetes who prioritize protein tend to have better long-term metabolic stability. When you start your day with a high-protein setup from these diabetic-friendly meats, you're literally supporting your muscles and managing glucose better. It's like letting your body do some of the work for you. People also underestimate the emotional side of breakfast. When you wake up and give yourself a meal that feels grounding and nourishing, your energy shifts. Instead of rushing, skipping breakfast, or grabbing something sugary at the last minute, you start the morning in control. When you choose lean meats like chicken breast, turkey bacon, or lean pork, your breakfast feels intentional.
Even if life gets wild later in the day, your morning stays clean.
And that mental clarity matters way more than people admit. A calm morning makes it easier to make good food choices throughout the rest of the day. It creates momentum. And let's be real, protein-based breakfasts are just more fun to customize. You can spin the flavors 1,000 different ways. Spicy chicken strips with eggs, smoky turkey bacon with veggies, or herbed lean pork with avocado and lime. You never get bored. And boredom is the #1 reason people fall off a healthy routine. When breakfast tastes good and you feel good after eating it, you stay locked in. That's the whole point. Making a diabetic lifestyle feel like a lifestyle, not a punishment. So, when people talk about the top 3 morning meats for diabetics, it's not some gimmick. It's about giving your body what actually works, with your metabolism instead of against it. Chicken breast keeps things lean and steady. Turkey bacon gives you that classic breakfast feel with less fat and more control. Lean pork adds flavor and richness without messing up your glucose levels. All 3 meats support your morning protein boost, match the needs of a type 2 diabetes diet, and help build a more stable, balanced morning routine. When you stick with these meats consistently, your body starts responding in subtle but powerful ways. You feel more awake. You're not shaky or hungry an hour after eating. Your energy doesn't crash. Your blood sugar readings look smoother. And mentally, you just feel more in control. That's the beauty of choosing smarter proteins in the morning. They give you stability, confidence, and enough fuel to handle whatever the day throws at you. So if you're trying to lower blood sugar, avoid spikes, and keep your mornings healthy, these proteins aren't just options, they're your new morning teammates. They help build momentum, encourage better habits, and make your mornings taste good without sacrificing your health goals. And when your morning starts right, your entire day follows.